Hello, students. I wanted to give you a quick explanation of the Students with Special Needs lesson plan and activity. So this is a modified version of a lesson plan, and it's really just an exercise to get you to start thinking about attaching standards to lessons. And in this particular case, thinking about a standard lesson and how we can use it and alter it for students with disabilities, gifted and talented students, and then infuse cultural diversity and maybe linguistics diversity in there as well. So this may not look like a standard lesson plan, but it's one I use strictly for technology, only because I tried to simplify it in this basically an introduction to educational technology class. So I just want to run through this with you and kind of what I'm looking for in this. I don't expect you to be perfect. What I am looking for specifically in this activity is that you're thinking, that you can rationally tell me why you're doing something or how it fits together, or that I can see that you put some effort into thinking about how you could alter an activity for students with disabilities. So I thought I would run through this with you and give you an example. The information I use here, you cannot use in your lesson plan. So you can't just take mine, change it to something else and use the exact same things. That's not the purpose of this demo. It's really to just take away some of the explanation that I normally would give in a face-to-face class and kind of run through a lesson plan with you because it is a little bit different. So anyways, the first thing I want you to do is delete this title and type your own title for whatever you're going to be teaching. And so you'll have to do a little bit of pre-planning, look at your standards and see if there is a topic or an area that interests you from the Common Core standards that you selected in your standards piece that we did earlier. So whatever you have on your standards page in your portfolio, those are where you want to look. So I already pre-did this and I want to do a lesson on animal habitats. And so the content area, it says choose a topic that you want to teach, your grade level and content area. So in this case, I'm just going to take away the words. I'm going to replace that with my content area is, I'm going to look at this from a science standpoint. And if I tab over, obviously your name is your name. And the time required. So again, we're just thinking, if I were really going to do this in a classroom, how much time would I take on animal habitats? Maybe it's a week, maybe it's a unit, maybe it's a module, maybe it's just a day. In this case, I'm going to say we're going to take a week to do this. So again, I just need to delete what's in here. And then the grade level and audience that I'm looking for, the grade level or audience would be, in this case, I'm going to look at second grade. And the academic standards, or standard, I should say, that I'm looking at, and I'm just picking one at this point. I've already kind of picked. And so this is grade 2 science, living things cause changes on Earth. So I'm going to relate this to animal habitats. As you can see, my topic, which is not the standard, this is just the topic for the standard, is interactions with habitats. So it focuses on ecosystems and how living things interact with other living things and impacts their habitats. So I'm going to copy by Control-C, and I'm going to go back to my standard. I'm going to paste that standard. So that's the standard I'm working off of. So now I need, what are my big ideas? What am I trying to teach here? And so these would be my learning objectives. So what is the main goal of the lesson based on your learning standards? So in this case, I have 2 objectives, and one is going to be that animals live in habitats. So first I want them to understand what a habitat is, and actually I'm going to say that animals live in different types of habitats. And then the second one is that humans can impact animal habitats. So I'm just, again, I only want you to do 1 or 2 learning objectives, which is fine. That's really just to get you moving in the direction of how you're going to select your activity. So at this point, I want you to just explain an idea, an activity that you could do regarding this particular concept. So with animal habitats, I could have students do an activity in which maybe we visit the zoo, or maybe we just go outside for a nature walk. Maybe we bring in an animal to look at, whether it's a lizard or a frog or something like that. I also could have them build a diorama of a habitat. So they could research a little bit about habitats and then they could build a diorama. For my activity, I am going to have students build a diorama. I'm also going to have them show the impact of human interaction with the habitat. So that's what I'm going to have them do. The next section is for you to take the idea of building a diorama and the impact of human interaction and adjust it for students with disabilities, which was the first area that we talked about. So in this case, I was thinking that maybe students could create a digital storybook. And in this creation of a digital storybook, they could use the speech to text feature and discuss what they have researched about different animal habitats and the impact of human interaction. And they could do it through a digital storybook in which they also could hear what pictures they could include into that digital storybook. So that was my idea for special needs students with disabilities. So I'm not going to write a whole paragraph here as I've asked for you to do, but what I want you to do is write at least a paragraph explaining how you could incorporate, for example, my idea. In this, I would write a paragraph about creating a digital storybook and using the speech to text feature for students who are visually impaired. So hopefully you get the idea of what that means. Again, write it in a grammatically correct type of a paragraph. For the sake of the shortness of the video, I'm just putting in ideas here right now. But explain what you would need for doing this. You would need obviously a digital storybook app, a microphone, and the Google Google speech to text application or add-on. And then the opportunities and challenges involved in these. Again, the opportunity would be to create an actual artifact that could be read visually or could be auditory for other students. It also could allow them to add pictures or their own voice to it as well. So those are opportunities. Challenges, again, would be working with the software. Perhaps it would be doing the research piece on the habitat. So that is how I want you to look at these particular areas. For students who are gifted and talented students, in addition to the physical diorama, I might have them create a virtual habitat using Minecraft for Education. And in this virtual habitat, they can alter the habitat to show deforestation or other human impact on habitats. In Minecraft for Education, I could explain in my paragraph that they can actually physically build the habitat and have virtual animals interact within that habitat and show the deforestation along with charts and graphs and things like that. So that could be a bit of a challenge for students to code and to physically build the diorama virtually and animate it. So that could be a challenge for that. Again, the technologies and so forth needed would be obviously Minecraft for Education. I may need a microphone or a video camera for them to video themselves. And the opportunities and challenges would be to experiment with the habitats and to actually see in real time the effects of deforestation and things like that. So again, I think that's a really good adaptation for that particular project. Get rid of the bold here. And then for cultural, ethnicity, language, diverse students, my idea was to have them center their habitat around either their heritage, their country, their parents' countries, if they're first generation here, so they could have a culturally relevant habitat and include animals native to their heritage. And in this case, they can do this either virtually or physically. And for ed tech, they could do both. So they could do a physical version of a diorama and then maybe create the after effects digitally. So again, you can always work in the ed tech in there, however is appropriate for your grade level. And believe me, grade 2 can work with Minecraft, which is a building program. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. So they can work with the animals relevant. And for the linguistic area, students can include the names of animals or places or plants or parts of the habitat in their native language, which would be a nice translation for students who are not familiar with that habitat. So linguistic should say students can include first language translations of animals and plants and other aspects of the diorama, which would give them pride in their homeland or their parents' homeland or their grandparents' homeland, and also share some, maybe it's Spanish speaking words for different animals, Chinese, Japanese, or maybe it's Native American. So that's a great way to share some culture. Maybe it's a habitat that was not known to students before. So this would be a really good way to share a piece of their culture, their ethnicity, or their language diversity with other students. And then the rest of this is all about your concept map. And I've done a separate video for the concept map. So you can check that video out as well. But this is how I want you to think about this. And again, I'm just going to reiterate that these sections I was just lazily typing here. I want you to actually go in and create a nice paragraph explaining to me how this meets the needs of students with disabilities, how exactly you're going to do it, and some opportunities and challenges that will be created because of this lesson plan. So good luck with this. On the mapping, you'll be mapping something that has to do with this lesson plan, but it doesn't have to be the exact same academic standard. So just keep that in mind as you go forth. Good luck. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call, a text, stop by and see me at my office if you happen to be around the campus. And good luck.